Oh, yes. Thank you so much for doing that. That is a really good citizen guy.
The Board of Commissioners is the governing body of Clatsop County, all county service districts for which this body so acts, and as the Clatsop County Local Contract Review Board is now meeting in regular session. Please join us for the flag salute.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
May we have the roll call, please?
Commissioner Sullivan?
Yes.
Commissioner Webb?
Here.
Commissioner Medicare? Here. Commissioner Pula?
Here.
Commissioner Thompson?
Here.
Next is the agenda.
Madam Chair, move to adopt the agenda.
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
The agenda is approved. There are no nays. Now it's time for business from the public. This is an opportunity for anyone to give a 3-minute presentation about any item on the agenda, except for public hearings, or any topic of county concern that is not on the agenda. So it looks like we have two, but you will be able to speak, Robert Moore and Robert Motion, during the public hearing. You'll be able to speak then. Moving on to the consent calendar. No, excuse me. Yes, go ahead.
Are you ready?
Yes.
Move to adopt the consent calendar.
Second.
Okay, all those in favor, make sure that you really vote, because this has to be by unanimous consent. Sometimes commissioners
voted.
don't actually vote, they just agree. Okay, so all those in favor?
Just getting ready.
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Now it's time for the commissioners' liaison reports. Commissioner Sullivan? No? You want us to come back to you?
Well, I guess I don't have anything to report today.
Okay. Commissioner Webb?
Yes, I do. I finished up my last round of county college, and I've been a good girl. I've been to every session, and I think I'm going to get a gold star. But I really can't emphasize enough how very wonderful it's been and how much I've learned, and making friendships, which I think will endure with other county commissioners from all over the state, is really terrific. And I think that I've learned a lot, but my biggest takeaway, I think, is that even though we all often, first of all, hear about this terrible urban-rural divide that we have, and also that Eastern Oregon is a different state. I learned that most commissioners in other counties have exactly the same concerns that we do. We all care about the economic prosperity of our citizens. We care about our schools. We care about the future. The thing that, one of the first questions that was asked of us was, what keeps you up at night? And my response always was, well, the tsunamis. But the thing that was absolutely unanimous was our behavioral health services. Whether you're in a city or out in the country, these are issues for all of us. So it was a wonderful experience. Commissioner Thompson, are you going to talk about the District 7 meeting? Oh, yeah, okay, so I won't. All right. Also, I was very disappointed that the Forest Trust Land Advisory Committee meeting that was scheduled on performance measurement was called off at the last minute.
I believe the public meeting, would have been today.
Today.
Did happen. 'Cause
Yeah.
I didn't see a cancellation of that. I got another.
Yeah, I did too, but the performance measurement emphasis, unfortunately, and I couldn't get a straight answer from anybody about why it was canceled, so, okay, that's it.
Okay, thank you. Commissioner Coyle?
Thank you, Chair. Earlier today, I attended the transfer ceremony for the Hammond Marina, which officially went from the Corps of Engineers to the City of Warrenton.
So good.
Beautiful day for it. Couldn't have been a better day.
Yes.
And great attendance. Had representatives from Mercury's office, from Representative Bonamici's office. Senator Johnson spoke. The mayor of Warrenton spoke. I got to even speak, which, man, they really opened up something then. But it was great. It was a really, really great event, and that's been leased since 1967 by the City of Warrenton. And for the last decade, I think the city's been negotiating to try to gain ownership and actually control what comes in, what kind of investment will happen in that area. So this is a big step, and I think it's going to be a great asset for the city of Warrenton moving forward. And lastly, I wanted to acknowledge and embarrass somebody. Jacob Schneider is here. Jacob, raise your hand there. With Boy Scout Troop 642, right?
Stand up, Jacob. I can't see you.
All right.
Jacob Pickens. He's here to get his merit badge tonight, so let's not disappoint him.
Great.
That's all I got.
Okay, thank you. Commissioner Thompson, perhaps you would like to lead with this.
Hand me that jar. Some of you know I went back to the Midwest. My sister and brother-in-law have both been ill, but you know what? They sent us sweetness. They sent me back with a gallon of Michigan honey to share with my colleagues to celebrate the sweet moment that our new county manager brings to us. May all your days here be as sweet as this honey. Here's to Don Boone. Sweet moment. Okay, thank you. Thank you, Chair. Well, and if I had enough for everybody, I would share it, but take the thought with you. I want to thank you, colleagues, for authorizing me to welcome the AFL-CIO convention in Seaside. That was on Friday the 13th. There were only 3 electeds allowed to speak, and your delegate was one of them. So I got to welcome them to Seaside, and they thank you for that. The second thing Commissioner Webb referred to, Clatsop County has a voice and a vote on the AOC Board of Directors because our regional colleagues in District 7, and thank you to Commissioner Webb for your support, have elected me to be the chair of AOC District 7. We have a voice and a vote on the chair of the Association of Oregon Counties. Thank you, just correct, I'm so excited I can hardly talk. Okay, so we've got a voice and a vote at that table
for the Board of Directors of the Association of Oregon Counties, and we'll hopefully be collaborating in these work sessions that we're talking about so we can develop unified positions that let the world know what we need and what we have to offer so we can bring home even more resources. The third thing is the daycare task force. The first meeting convened on Monday. We had the 3 largest employers in Clatsop County at the table. Christy Ward came from the Warner Mill. We had a representative from Columbia Memorial Hospital. And we had a representative from the county. So there were education leaders, business leaders. There was great consternation at the table because what we knew Monday was that Shooting Stars, the daycare center in Astoria, was scheduled to close. But today, ta-da, Senator Johnson's chief of staff told me that the senator had been approached and intervened along with Mayor Bruce Jones of Astoria and saved the day. So they have worked with the federal and state folks so that Shooting Stars, we think, is going to be able to stay open. So that's a huge success. It turns out that Clatsop County is a double-down desert as far as daycare is concerned. The standard to be a daycare desert, which means 15% of the children 0 to 5 in a community do not have access to 0 to 5 care for infant, toddler, and preschool care. So 33% is the measure for a desert. Clatsop County is at 14 or 15%. We are a double desert. We are going to work on that, and I'll keep reporting to you. Welcome all of your comments and your input, and great thanks to the education and business and other community leaders who stepped up to work on that together on this daycare task force. And Nicole, where's Nicole? We had a wonderful, thank you, Nicole. We had lovely coverage in the Astorian, so I thank you for bringing that matter to public awareness and doing that excellent reporting. Thank you very much for that. That's all, Madam Chair. Okay, thank you. So I also attended the District 7 meeting, and it was good to have that time to share, and I enjoyed hearing the report from our Representative Mitchell. And I attended the Arts Council meeting. They are continuing to work toward final preparations for the Arts Summit that's going to be held in the newly remodeled Seaside Convention Center. And it was decided after the by-invitation luncheon to open the summit with a short history about the Countywide Arts Council, since it's fairly new. And we will have a viewing of the Ben Moon film on Royal Nebuchadnezzar, and a brief summary of the economic impact study. And it will be followed by presenters and performances, workshops, and roundtables. I would imagine that the commissioners will be invited. And then there will be a survey at the end for feedback. And so I think they want to make this an annual event, or maybe semi-annual. And the idea is to help those who are involved in the arts community to increase their abilities to make a living. And now it's time for the county manager's report, and welcome.
Thank you, Chairman, members of the board. I'll be really brief because in my 8 days I haven't got a long list of things to really be sharing, but I do want to thank you for inviting me into the community, and I want to thank you for the welcome that I've had. It's been very much appreciated, and I want to thank staff too for the welcome that I've received from them. I'm excited to be here, and I look forward to our time together, so thank you.
We're very excited to have you.
Absolutely.
Okay, now it's time for our public hearing regarding ordinance 219-03.
What happened to business from the public?
Oh, sorry. No, we don't have business from the public because...
Nobody signed up. Oh,
Well, it's the only ones who signed up will speak at the public hearing.
I'm sorry.
And so now we have stuff. Nicholas will speak to us.
Good
Good evening. Mike McNicola, I'm Clatsop County Public Health Director. So I'm going to start with the three things that public health does the best: protection, prevention, and promotion. This one is about prevention. This is about preventing kids from becoming smokers in the future. One of the ways to do that is at the policy level. It's been proven by all of the peer-reviewed works that prevention at the policy level works the best. By getting it out of the hands of those in the beginning, taking it out of their reach, taking it out of their sight, the temptation goes away, the questions also stop, and that tends to be working the best. So that's why we decided to move forward in if you recall, I actually started this process in the beginning of 2018 with other board members, but the board. We started talking about this a long time ago. And at the time when we met as a group, we actually had, we met and we decided that, the process is going to be, we would meet with the cities first to get some feedback on whether or not a tobacco retail license would work. And so we set about to do that in late 2018. Our first stop was Cannon Beach. That was in summer of last year. This has been a long time coming. And we met with them and we talked to them about the process. And then it took a little while to get to the other cities. We had a hard time getting on their agendas. But thanks to Commissioner Webb, who went with us on those, we did talk to all of the city councils and the mayors and anyone else who was a president at all the cities between the beginning of the year and about 3 months ago. At those meetings, we rolled out how the tobacco retail license would work, including there would be an annual fee, and we discussed the flavor ban as well. At that time, we said we would, if they were willing to go with us on that, we would send them the orders for their review, and then we would hear back from them, and we had no pushback at the time. We had some questions about a pointy ones, but we didn't have anybody who said no. So we went ahead and did that. So when we moved through the process, we then came back to you last 2 weeks ago and said we've been through this process, this is what we came to, and what you have in front of you now is that ordinance. Some of the highlights is the licensing is a $350 annual fee. That would cover staff for 2 visits every year for every retail license, and there's about 55 to 60, depends on how you count them. And what we really want to do is we want to kill a carrot along with a stick. So the very first visit would be education. We bring along our inspection forms, we show the retailers, the owners, the operators, whoever wants to be there, these are the things we're going to inspect, and these are the things we expect you to have to meet Tobacco 21 rules. That's the whole purpose of this. From then on, there would be actual inspections unannounced to make sure we're following Tobacco 21, getting the products out of the way of kids so they can't see them, and those kind of things. And then from then on, we'd also have decoys to make sure that under the age of 21 couldn't purchase such products. The other piece of that is the flavor ban, and that's probably the controversial one. In the ordinance, it actually says that all flavored products. So we envision that the process for that would be anything with vaping products, cigarillos, and cigarette products that have flavor. That doesn't ban all tobacco products. Adults can still get them. Adults can still get those products as well online. We have no say-so online. So if an adult actually wants to buy these products, like for example, Jewel doesn't sell their products in stores. You actually have to go online and buy them that way. Adults still have that opportunity. Excuse me. And so the next step on that is that we really want to make sure that we, as we said, prevention is our key, to keep them out of the way of kids so they can't start smoking. As we know, Altria, the company that bought into this, had a $12.8 billion stake into Juul, and they know that they're because Philip Morris is the biggest tobacco company. And it's not coincidental that they actually have that in the Juul product, because Juul actually recognizes that that product was being unfairly targeting children. You can't have flavors called unicorn vomit and say that that's not targeting children. So that's why we think of the vaping product as an important ban. And so, again, we're trying to keep the product out of the hands of kids, and once we start that process at the level of policy, it will inevitably lead to a reduction in tobacco use. That's how we see it. The vaping product, as we know now, we have nationwide, everybody knows, There's been an incidence of 600 plus incidences of vaping-related illnesses, and now I think as of today, there have been 8 deaths countrywide. The next issue is that the one thing we're speaking to a couple of the commissioners, if the smokeless tobacco product is of concern, we did talk as a team and mentioned that if we needed to exempt smokeless tobacco, we could exempt that. We were really trying to focus on smoking and vaping as the issue, and we could actually work with that if that's what you wish to do. Again, this is your ordinance, right? As public health director, I bring you the issues. You guys decide what the policy is. It's not my ordinance, it's your ordinance. So you guys tell me what you want us to do. So I'm just giving you the facts as a public health professional who's working with that. With all the evidence, this is up to you to decide how you want to deal with the youth of the future. Do you want them to be smokers or do you not? That's how it's going to work. When people say that vaping helps people with their smoking, there's not one single peer-reviewed work that shows that at all. None. Not one. Not peer-reviewed. It's not true. So we need to make sure that we realize we're dealing with evidence-based, not what everyone thinks is happening. The final thing I want to say is that if you want to have that exemption, just recall that 80% of all oral cancers can be related to smokeless tobacco products. That's all I have.
Thank you.
Madam Chairman, we're going to wait for more public testimony.
Well, I think we're going to open this now for public, and then we can have a discussion after.
I just had a question for Mike.
Oh, okay. Well, go ahead.
I just wanted to, I'm pretty sure that information was there about banning flavored for adults. I want to apologize to you because I missed that. I did not mean to throw you under the bus or sandbag you. If I had been paying better attention, I probably would have seen that, so I just want to apologize. I didn't, my aunt would haunt me for years if I banned Koodles. Saying. Thank you.
Was that a question?
That was kind of a question. Will you forgive me? There's the question.
You're forgiven.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Anything else?
Thank you. I don't think so.
All menthol cigarettes.
Okay, so if there is public testimony, please come forward one at a time. Give your name, your address for the record, and you'll have 3 minutes. Would anybody like to speak?
Hello.
No.
Commissioner, Speaker, Commissioners, thank you for letting us talk. My name is Oscar Nelson, business owner in town, part owner of Sweet Relief and Astoria CBD Company. And I understand the health situation. Of course, we all want to have a vibrant community. I have 2 young children, 9 and 12. I wouldn't want them smoking or going into something that wasn't for them. Even running the cannabis industry, I tell them, until you're 25, you really don't know who you are. You shouldn't really alter yourself until you know who you are. So even though I'm in the cannabis industry, I still encourage some wisdom with what's going on. The flavor ban is an overreach. It's taking freedom from law-abiding adults, turning something that is something they choose to do individually into an illegal activity to purchase. They can still get it, like they mentioned, online. So it's a little bit of a paper dragon to have this as a step that the county is saying, where does it stop? Lemon juice and beer? A sugar in an edible at a dispensary? Humans enjoy products that are palpable, that are enjoyable. This isn't about giving these products to kids. And in fact, I'd love to see the documentation of the MIP citations in regards to this. They're putting the impetus back on the retailers, but the schools and parents, where are they at for some of this accountability? And so I ask you, please make a logical decision. I understand on the surface,
It's easy to make an emotional decision, especially with the health crisis that has gone on. Like you mentioned, there's 8 people dead across the country over something in this. But without the 55,000 people a year from alcohol, the other things that have been going on, adults are adults. Let's keep our freedoms. We'll be logical. I do think that, oversight is obviously needed in some regards, but there's already a lot of that. I think we need to think about this. Thank you.
Thank you.
Robert Mushin, 148 East Van Buren, Cannon Beach. I'm here as chair of the Health and Human Services Committee to put my stamp of approval on the tobacco ordinance. Smoking, and especially vaping, is devastating our youth in Clatsop County. And if you believe, as I do, as an MD, professionally and personally believe that cannabis is a gateway drug to more serious addictions, then it's not too much a leap of faith to assume that smoking and vaping can lead to cannabis use. I think we have to break the chain somewhere. We have to break that chain. I'd like to applaud the efforts of Mike and Julia and Jill and all the people in public health who worked so hard to get this ordinance in final shape. And I want everybody to know that my committee and I are in 100% support of the ordinance. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks for letting us have this moment to speak. My name is Brady. I own Brady's Plumbing. So Gil and Ed.
I'm sorry, can you speak up, please?
I own Brady's Plumbing. I'm also a Gil and Ed. Lived in the county for a long time.
Could you say your address as well, please?
I'm at 310 McClure, Astoria, Oregon.
Thank you.
This is a simple freedom thing. We all woke up in this country this morning. We all have rights. As an American, as a human being, as an adult, if I decide to chew a flavored flavored cigarette after 21 years old, that is my right. It's nobody else's right to choose that right for me. It's law, it's been passed, it's worked. Simple fact is, parents need to take their children, the schools need to educate people, but if we're old enough to go to war for this country and die, and then come back here, and then have a committee or a council say that, you can't have flavored this, or you can't have that, it defeats the purpose. You understand? I mean, it's just a simple fact that when we're adults, we should have the right to make the choice. When I started chewing, I knew what it was going to do to me. I knew what it was. When I smoked cigarettes, I knew what they were doing to me when I was smoking them. We grew up in a society, an information society, TV, commercials, now the internet. The internet, there's nothing hidden. If you have a question about anything, you can ask your phone these days. So take that into consideration when you're thinking about this. Just take it into consideration. Thank you.
Thank you.
Sorry, I made a couple quick notes. I'm going to bring my computer with me. Amanda Dalton, 8 North State Street in Portland. I'm actually here on behalf of Jewel. I wasn't going to testify because I did submit pretty extensive written comments a couple days ago. But I want to just clarify a couple things that were just shared. I do want to make it clear that Jewel as a company, in addition to tobacco, mint, and menthol, only sell 4 flavors: cucumber, fruit, mango, and cream. Staff is correct in that we did pull those 4 flavors off the retail shelf in November of last year, largely in response to youth access. So all of those 4 flavors are sold solely online. And I encourage you to try and access the Jewel website. There's a pretty extensive 2-step authentication process. There's also a third-party vendor that verifies your driver's license, matches your your ID, as well as the credit card that you're making the purchase. I can tell you, though, that internet sales are probably one of the biggest threats to this product right now, especially in this world of unknown and what we're consuming. We do have significant concern the ban as drafted, and I just want to flag for you because we've been involved in these licensure issues across the state. The ordinance before you will make you the first community in the state of Oregon to do a flavor ban. And I think it not only will shut down your local retail shops, but it will push your local consumers online and force them to counterfeit products that we really have no idea what's in them. Because I can tell you, you're not going to get through the Juul website if you're 18 years old today, but within a matter of moments, your teenagers will find 5 different sites that will sell to you, and they're coming in from China. And they look just like Juul products. We've seen them all over the country. They literally look just like a Juul package, and they're not coming from the company. I just wanted to note a couple of things. You'll see in my written comments that, and it may surprise some, that we do support a flavor ban. If this is something the county would like to pursue, we'd love to be part of the conversation. We proposed a definition for you in my written comments that really target those kid-appealing flavors in the marketplace. We support swift enforcement for both manufacturers and for retailers. We also believe, as you've heard from some of the community members today, that these products should be these legal products should be available to adults. Your proposed ordinance as crafted really takes an overly restrictive approach to those flavors. As you've heard me comment, I think they will drive to online sales. I do note in my comments as well that we've been working with the Oregon legislature to try and enhance your online sales retail enforcement. I'm hoping that actually does happen during the 2020 session. And then I'll just leave you for that because I see, my yellow, I have 12 seconds left. So 3 things, primary concerns, enforcement. I think your fees aren't sufficient for enforcement. You're going to shut down most of your retail licensures. You'll have no one paying this and everyone buying counterfeit online. Overly restrictive, and then just equal treatment for cannabis and vaping, because I think it's a significant concern.
Thank you. If you could not applaud so that we can move through this, we'd appreciate it.
Good evening, Stephen Blakesley, 788 F Street, Gerhardt, Oregon. Thanks for the time tonight. Commissioner Thompson, it was great to hear your enthusiasm for being able to participate at the state level and have county leadership there. And that just reminds me that we've had, Clatsop County has been in the forefront of setting tobacco policy for the state for a long time running now. And now I was actually, when I heard that Juul was responding to this policy, I actually gave a fist pump and thought, that is great. Why? Because now we're moving past the state level in terms of good policy, and we're moving to the national level of good policy. I don't think if it was bad policy that they wouldn't be here fighting it. Now I work for a fairly large health and science university, and I'm around a lot of research all the time. And before I did tobacco work, so I was very familiar with a lot of data and statistics, and I had so much floating around in my head, and I really tried to get rid of that data, I really did. But the one piece that kept coming back around tobacco was that 94% of people that start their nicotine addiction begin before the age of 18, and the rest typically by the age of 25. That's alarming, and so if we want to curb this, and we know the health risks, I don't need to go into that, they're massive, the costs to our communities are extraordinary. But if we want to curb this, we have to, as Mike said, work on the prevention side of things. And this is known that if we work on curbing the flavors and trying to limit those, as Juul has noted, that they recognize that. That's a really good start. And so to be the first county in the state to recognize this as good policy is a really good opportunity, and we will continue our leadership in the state as a leader in reducing tobacco harm to our populations and making a healthier county. So, when we hear flavors like Tutti Frutti and cotton candy and stuff like that, we know that's not intended for adults. They can get it elsewhere, great. Some people will be hurt by it. That's unfortunate, but overall, for our population health, this is solid, good policy. Thank you.
Thank you. Does anyone else wish to speak?
Well, Council, Chairman, my name is Darrell Gouveia. I'm the manager of Seaside Tobacco Outlet. My address is 506 Fifth Avenue. I believe there are tools currently available that are not being utilized to combat youth tobacco use. Possession of tobacco is a Class D violation. Yet I called the juvenile department here in Clatsop County today, and there's only been 26 referrals in all of this year. If it's such a big problem, why aren't we using the tools that are available to us now? If it was a bottle in their hand, they'd be calling the police. They'd be getting violations. There would be education. There'd be some consequences to the youth. And that's what needs to happen, is because if you just turn a blind eye and say you shouldn't do that, and other youth see this, they're going to continue doing it because there's no risk to them. Schools and teachers are asking for more educational material to address the issue. We should use the valuable resource of the tools to educate youth on the effects of use of the tobacco and the consequences if they get caught. The situation of youth and tobacco should be treated similarly to NIP, have some consequences. As the establishment selling the products, only one store in all of Clatsop County was cited in 2017, and only one in 2018, according to Oregon Health report. So it's not the stores. Youth are getting their product 10 times as much from other places than stores and gas stations, mainly friends, family. The majority of the illnesses, the gentleman mentioned earlier, are THC related from bootleg THC. So sometimes there's a little convolution between vaping and what's going on the TV. You have to read what's going on. As far as the flavors, I challenge any one of you, and Mike, if you'd like to come into my store and see 30, 40, 50-year-olds asking cotton candy flavored, mango, sour apple, that's who I'm selling to. No youth are coming into my store to sell to. I'm selling to adults, and that's what they want. I challenge you to come. And also talk to real customers about, are these flavors helping them to quit smoking? Every day I have people, you spend one day in my store, I guarantee you'll have 24 adults who have quit smoking and use flavors because they want to get something away from tobacco. Went to a store today. They had orange, fireball, cinnamon, cherry flavors, to name just a few. Store highly regulated by the state, a liquor store. But no one's suggesting to get rid of the flavors there because some youth will abuse alcohol. Page 59 of the Oregon Healthy Teen Study, which was cited for you, it says, good news is the vast majority of Oregon youth avoid using tobacco products of any form. Let's focus on the small percent that do, educate them, and hold them accountable for their actions. Not the store. The license is a great idea. We want you to know who's selling. Use things, regulate us, but don't take away the adult's choice. That's what this is about. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Rick Abrego, I'm the chairman of the Lunch Buddy program here in Clatsop County.
Excuse me, could you repeat that?
Rick Abrego, I'm the Lunch Buddy mentoring program chairman. The passing of the ordinance.
State your address too, please.
143 Glasgow, Astoria.
Thank you.
Passing the ordinance would be, huge. And speaking from experience, we all know that, the youth in our communities, and it's just not in Clatsop County, but everywhere, they're getting their products and everything from friends, family, everybody, taking it from their parents. In the story that I'm going to just touch on briefly, I am a mentor as well to the youth in our community for the program. When I was mentoring a young man in the middle school area, I did not get the finish route with him the second year. He tried to OD on Tylenol. So I did not get to finish out and see his progression on that. If the kids are doing this on Tylenol, this new enemy that we have in the community, on TV, we don't know what we're dealing with. And as soon as we can put a stop to it, until we find an answer to what all this is, it would be the best thing for our youth and our communities. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Does anyone else wish to speak during this public hearing, either for or against?
My name is Ingrid Bell. I go by nickname Sunny Bell. I live at 865 Jerome Avenue in Astoria. I have been a registered nurse and health educator for many years, my life actually. As I began working in a hospital, I gradually came to find that most of the deaths and most of the severe illness was related to lifestyle, primarily smoking, not just deaths, but amputations, and the list is very long, kidney disease, everything that can be on a list of disease, much is related to tobacco use. I have a small business in town, and there's a great deal of smoke that's in the ambient air. I'm right near the 13th Street alley, and people smoke in the alley. There's even a large container on the commercial end of the alley where people smoke, and the airflow, you would think it would come from the southwest that way, but it flows actually from the other direction, and we can't be outside. I tried to paint a wall with my granddaughter, who is 7 years old, and marijuana smoke from across the way at where the trailers, the open food carts are. I had to take her right away from there because of the air coming across that was marijuana. I know this marijuana because of having been a nurse for so many years. And she asked, why would they do that? I still haven't gotten a good answer. I said, we have to go inside because this is bad for you. And she wanted to know why, and I don't have the right answer why people would do that and expose other people to it, especially children. We have passers-by. We can't ourselves sit out front. We cannot keep the front window open. At Art Walk, recently, we had to dash to the door because we had the door open to welcome people to come in. And I thought it was skunk at first, and I found out that's the first smell. I had a person lighting up marijuana right on the street outside of our business door. I closed the door, but it took a long time before it cleared. We opened the door. It happened again that night. And that time we kept the door closed, but we eventually had to open it because it turned out the air inside my business was still strong with the smoke that came into the building. And we had to try to get it out. I've had people ripping off signs that we put for no smoking, trying to maintain the 10-foot rule, but the 10-foot rule is not sufficient. Smoke goes much farther than that, and we can't breathe that air. I have tried my life to be a healthy person because of what I taught others, and I wasn't about to live a kind of a life that was different from what I was teaching other people to do to stay healthy. My particular specialty was diabetes, and one of the big triggers for diabetes complications is cigarette smoke. I guess I have to quit. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next meeting, I'll be back.
Commissioners. Clerk. My name is Jarrett Miles. I live on 585 North Lincoln Street, Seaside, Oregon. So pretty much all I have is a bunch of notes here. I apologize, I'll make it quick. I've been working in the vape shop for about 8 years. We're an old school tobacco shop. We sell tobacco, cigars, Swisher Sweets, Juuls. Juul does not sell unicorn vomit. There's never been a flavor of that. There are companies that used to have names like that. They've all been kind of regulated, and education is the best thing for the parents. Probably 90% of vape stuff goes right out of the parents' hand into the kids' hands. And you will never, ever see a minor in our store. We get stung all the time. It doesn't happen. And we're very avid about doing that. Real quick, let's see. I've been vaping myself 8 years. I don't feel any negative effects actually, after the first 2 weeks of vaping from smoking, you regain your sense of smell. About 2 months into it, you regain your sense of taste. You're no longer reaching for the A1 sauce. You can actually taste your steak. So on shortness of breath, that comes back too, so you don't get that anymore. That actually goes away once you stop smoking. We're forgetting that this is about switching from something very harmful that we know that kills people. My mom died of lung cancer. I watched her actually gurgle to her last breath. I'm not being nervous because of her. I'm being nervous because I don't like speaking in front of people. I'm at peace with her death. I did the hospice thing. It was really rough. But I made a choice to vape because we have to make a switch in, like our other opponent was speaking about, making, talking about gateway and all that. I don't know about any of that, but what I do know is that we do need to make a change. Throwing it out right away, black and white's not going to work. It's not going to make a damn difference. You have to do it, regulate it. You have to educate and then regulate it, like they've been doing with the unicorn vomit flavor, which they changed to a different flavor. Let's see, with all the evidence, I heard speakers talk about evidence. What evidence do we have? There's nothing in front of us. Most cases of deaths were both THC cartridges and vape cartridges. You can't really tell. There's never been one case where someone simply just smokes their vape. It's always been THC related. A lot of THC related incidences are over the cartridges that you can make yourself. When you do it yourself at home, it's a black market thing. You have an excess of stuff, you want to do something with it, you make it into an isolate, you put it in a cartridge, you put flavors from it. Where are you getting these flavors? We don't know. People order them online, China, everywhere. It's a black market thing. It's nothing on the shelves that's causing it. I'm sure of, not 100%, I'm not a scientist. Got 10 seconds. We'll wrap it up with saying that pretty much, everything's been related to THC. This is a way better alternative than smoking cigarettes.
Anyone else? You don't need to wait for me to ask if there's anyone else. Just be ready to come and speak.
Thank you. So I want to destroy the health argument with regard to...
State your name and address for the record.
I'm Robert Moore, 33242 Sunset Beach Lane. I would like to destroy the health argument with regards to vaping and flavors and all of it. The Royal College Institute, the highest medical authority in the world, declared recently that vaping is at least 95% safer than smoking. Now, going off of the gentleman's numbers back here, and I'm going off of 2015 data for the amount of Americans vaping, there are roughly 4% of people in the United States, adults, vaping, I'm sorry. Now, according to the gentleman who began this debate, 600 plus have been harmed since then. That only accounts for 0.00006% of the amount of smokers using the 2015 CDC data. Now, the chances of dying, or that was the chances of dying from it. The chances of being harmed are 0.005%. Your chances in either case of being struck by lightning are far higher than dying or getting harmed by vape. I personally began vaping roughly 9 months ago. I went from only being able to move a mile and being winded to going on routine 10 and 20 mile hikes. And that's why I'm wearing my gym shorts and t-shirt, because I plan on going on a long run. As for the flavors, that's really a non-issue. It's up to adults to raise their kids properly and to watch their kids. This is a parenting issue, not a manufacturer issue, not a flavor issue at all. Flavors do help people quit. They help you gauge how much you've inhaled of the substance so that you can properly meter your dose. And flavors are actually crucial in all of this because no one wants to inhale a vapor that doesn't taste like anything. It just doesn't feel right. That concludes what I have to say. That's real math, and those are the facts from the highest authorities with regards to this subject. Thank you.
All right.
Hello. My name is Elisa Thrasher, and I live at 190 North Lahoma in Seaside. So normally I live in a bookkeeping cave, so this is a little weird to see people in society. I've been working in the tobacco industry for 8.5 years. I help manage Seaside Tobacco Outlet, and I'm the bookkeeper for UTB Investments, owned by John Harper over there. A year ago, I became a mother, so today I'm coming from a place of speaking as both a mother of a child who will grow to be a teenager, but also as a woman whose livelihood is connected to the tobacco industry. Even as a mother, I do not believe that the assessment reports put together by the health department are an adequate tool that can effectively justify placing a prohibition on federally regulated and legal items. It is simply not okay to strip adult consumers of their rights and call it a solution to youth addiction. In an age where you can buy anything off the internet, limiting local access will not eliminate the problem. People will always find a way to get the vice that they want, and that especially applies to children. Earlier today, I spoke with the school district health specialist and vice principal of Seaside High School. I cannot speak for them as their opinions are their own, but what I can say based off of our conversation is it does not seem like punishing tobacco retailers is the solution to youth addiction. Would our schools need more resources for parents and educators so they can tackle the hard topics that come hand in hand with being a part of any kid's life? The only way we help our children and their community is creating a bridge between us and them and embrace the world that they actually live in. I do not suggest changes in these programs from a place of naivety. I understand that it takes both money and hard work to make it a reality. So my suggestion for a solution for funding this is quite simple. What if instead of creating a flavored ban, you considered raising the proposed $350 tobacco license fee to a higher amount and funnel the difference directly into programs geared towards helping our Clatsop County children, parents, and educators in their schools. Attack addiction directly from the eye of the storm, so to speak. If the county commissioners don't take a look at an actual solution by improving parent and educator resources and encouraging open dialogue and transparency in our relationships to kids, if you just ban flavored products, all that will happen is our adult citizens will be stripped of our rights, while innovative kids will just drive to Washington or buy things off the internet, and they're still going to be out there blowing clouds of frosted bacon, grape jelly, sprinkle donuts. The question I ask of the commissioners respectfully is this: if you put a flavor ban in place, will this really solve the root of this issue? Or will you just take the rights of local adult consumers, put hardworking people out of business, and strip yourself of financial capability to support programs that will actually help our youth? Thank you.
Clock. I need to tell my joke first. My name is John Harper. I live at 335 West Marine Drive. I am the proprietor of the Seaside Tobacco Outlet and Under the Bridge Cigarettes, Kick-Ass Coffee, and a couple other things. First of all, I want to say thank you for having us. Appreciate that. We can sit here and do all the statistics we want. No smoking is bad for us. I think our youth, I think Elisa actually summed that up very well. We were going to go over a bunch of financials, but you guys are business people into your minds, and you already know that it's going to cripple a lot of businesses and put some of them out of business. The health department started this thing on a very good note. They came to my office, asked me to see if I would support a retail tobacco license. I agreed. That was a good idea to help enforcement. There was no fee at the time that they talked about, but I'm not going to argue the fee. I think it's too low. They then asked me to be part of a commission or a group to make the rules. I said I'd love to do that. They then said nothing more than that. I never heard from them ever since. On July 15th, the Public Health Department submitted a proposal to the City of Astoria Council, as well as other councils, I'm sure, regarding the retail tobacco license, which I have a copy of right here. On September 11th, they came to you guys asking your support, stating that, in fact, the other city councils had endorsed this, when in fact, I would like to have some exhibits here shown to you guys that are the draft from theirs that they submitted to the city councils and the one that was submitted to you. There is one exception to this rule, it's item 4. They have added an item on yours that they did not submit to the city council. That's the flavor ban. It's not in their submissions. And I have one for each of you. They're referenced by color on the page, one of the one they submitted and the one you submitted, or they submitted to you. Based on the above, I have to believe there's either a typo in here or somebody, their attorney or whatever, mistakenly put that in. I don't know what the purpose was to mislead or what I feel like was a bait and switch on the city council. The health department further stated that he invited 55 businesses to this meeting. I own multiple businesses in this community and I was not invited, nor was I spoken to. Furthermore, had the city council agenda been accurate to the flavor ban, we wouldn't be here today. I would have already addressed this at the city council level. Transparency is the issue here, and I feel that this is not transparent. I recommend 2 options. 1, remove item 8 on these agendas, the prohibition of all flavors, or 2, take an agenda and start a task force on this matter and put it off until another time where we can confirm a task force to address the business and the community's issues. The health department, we've spoken to all these people. They're willing to get on a task force. We've spoken to the nurses, we've spoken to the police, we've spoken to all these people, and they're willing to get a joint task force going to help make this ordinance possible.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Is there anyone else? Please hold your clapping. Is there anyone else who wishes to speak?
Just give
Okay.
it to the board clerk.
Yeah, there's several more. I'm Julia Hess. I live at 810 Florence Avenue in Astoria, and I'm the Tobacco Prevention and Education Program Coordinator for the Public Health Department. I just want to start out by saying we do not need Jewel and the industry's help in writing an ordinance. We had national and state professionals helping us draft a legal document that has the best evidence-based policies in it to reduce youth tobacco use and youth access to tobacco. In 2009, the FDA passed the Family Smoking Prevention and Tobacco Control Act, which prohibited the sale of flavored cigarettes, but it exempted menthol and other products, so that left a wide loophole for the tobacco industry to come in and create the small cigars, the flavored cigars, the cigarillos. They continued targeting communities of color with their menthol. And they worked with Philip Morris to pass this. So working with the industry creates loopholes. We do not need their help. I had too many things to say. The 2016 Surgeon General's report stated concerns that while some vape flavors may be safe to ingest as food, inhalation into the lungs has been shown to cause serious lung disease. Vaping flavors go hand in hand. We prohibit flavors in vaping, and it reduces use of vaping just as in prohibiting flavors in other tobacco products reduces youth tobacco use. And I just want to say, adults don't wake up and decide to smoke. 94% of them become addicted as teenagers and young adults, and they use flavors to do that. The vast majority of kids start with flavored products. So if we can get rid of flavored products, we will go a long ways to reducing nicotine addiction in future generations. What else do I want to say? I don't know the discrepancy between the draft policies that the gentleman was talking about. We did have a couple of different versions, and Mike can speak better to that than us. We did add the vaping ban later, but the policy was circulated around to the cities with a vaping ban, so they did get an opportunity to see that. The attorneys, I assume, approved that, but again, Mike can talk to that. But I just want to reiterate that every piece of this ordinance has been thoroughly researched and is scientifically proven to be effective in reducing youth tobacco use rates and protecting them from the predatory practices of the tobacco industry. And we really need to pay attention to this. The youth epidemic, smoking epidemic has skyrocketed with the use of vape, which includes flavors. Remember, flavors go hand in hand with vaping. We need to stop that. We have an opportunity to stop that now and make youth our primary concern, not the industry. Thank you.
Last call. Okay.
Let's close.
I'm Garrett. I live in Seaside, 585 North Lincoln. I just
Sorry, what was your last name?
SBILLMAN. I just wanted to say that in case anybody here wasn't aware, this flavor ban has to do with all flavored cigars, any large cigars, any type of chew, menthol cigarettes, Newport cigarettes, your wintergreen grizzly, Copenhagen. Basically, how many industries are going to be affected by this? How many businesses are going to be affected by this? And then you're telling me, oh, I can go buy it online. Well, what is this changing then? I can go buy it online. That's my job. He can go buy it online. He's a minor. He can have his friend buy it online. So I can't get it here, but I can get it online. What is that changing? A flavor ban that's not a flavor ban, I can still buy it online. How is that changing anything? I think a committee needs to be set up to control all of this stuff, not able to buy online. That is not the fix for any of this here. Purchasing online is the problem for all of this. I really believe that. Our stores that check IDs for every sale need to be who's selling this, not, oh, you can buy it online. We're going to get rid of it in this county, but you can go buy it online. That's fair. I don't think that is the fix to this issue. Minors will still have just as much tobacco products in their hands as they do right now with the flavor ban. Except the difference, we're going to have black market tobacco products that they purchased from drug dealers or online, back to online. All the deaths lately from vaping have been the results of black market THC cartridges, and that is in illegal states because there's no regulation on it. There's no committees on it. There's no way to regulate it and tell you if it's safe or not because they're not testing it. Have you heard of any THC deaths in Oregon from the recreational market? Every batch is tested. Every batch is tested. Black market will kill our kids. Take it away, I'll still be able to get it. It'll be black market and it won't be safe. Thank you.
Hello again. I'm Mandy Madison, and I'm a Clatsop County resident. My address is 1747 Southeast 3rd Street in Astoria. I avoid public speaking like the plague, but I'm here because unfortunately this became an issue in my house in the last couple of months, and I'm really sad about it. I've been in front of all of you speaking about our maternal child health programs, and in these programs, education on smoking, vaping, and so on is part of a requirement. I educate about the dangers of these products, and I have for the past 12 years. So why did my own son, who knows better, I have educated his entire life, end up vaping in the last couple of months? I will tell you, because his friend let him try a flavored vape, and my son decided it was really good and wanted one of his own. So he somehow got one for $60. Within a couple of days, he dropped it and broke it. It was out $60. So can you guess what he turned to when he couldn't afford to buy another vape? Marlboro cigarettes. So now my son is smoking cigarettes because he started with vaping. Some residents and constituents are unhappy about a potential ban on flavored products, tobacco products. Commissioners, that right there is why we need a ban. That is an individual that has an addiction. Let's do something about it right now, so in 10, 20, 30 years, it isn't your child or your grandchildren expressing concern over a tobacco ban. Because hopefully they never had the choice, and that hopefully they'll never have the choice that caused that addiction. That's all I got.
Okay.
My name is Elias Hess. I live at 18 Florence Avenue, Astoria. I'll just make this really brief. I've heard a lot about what a problem vaping is in our schools, and a lot of people have said, well, the schools should take more responsibility about this. They're limited in what we can do. People have said we should educate people better. It's been shown that policy works better than education to make a change in health conditions. There's no scientific, peer-reviewed proof that vaping is safer than smoking. There's no proof that it helps people stop smoking. We know that most smokers start when they're young. Nicotine is an addiction. Most people become addicted when they're young. We're seeing an explosion of vaping among young people in our county, and this is an opportunity to make a policy change that would affect that. And I hope you follow through. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else?
Hello, my name is Avery Hartzler. I live at 91242 Highway 101 in Warrenton. The one thing that I was really hearing again and again is the availability that this product is to children. Again, we hear people say it is an online thing. Well, I tell you, I work with youth all year long. I have to be the boss of over 15, between, say, 10 and 16-year-olds. I always confiscate vapes, and they get these things online. Now, my grandfather passed away from a lung deficiency due to smoking. My grandmother was also in that racket, and when my mom smoked my entire life, I actually brought her to vaping. Now, she quit smoking. She hasn't smoked a cigarette in over 6 years. She's lost a bunch of weight. She has all of these kind of clarities in her lungs, and I don't think that regulating what type of flavor is going to have anything to do with if the children are going to be able to pick it up. As far as my personal preferences, I think that there should be laws in states saying that, retailers do have to pay costs in order to have licensure to sell these items. But it falls back onto the parents and onto the schools to limit how much they have the availability online. Most of the people that I have confiscated these items from have gotten it using the purchasing systems through their parents' computer with their parents' credit card. So that puts it back in the home. Now, if you limit where I can purchase that here in Clatsop County, I'm going to drive to Washington and still go and buy my mom's vape products because I don't want her to return back to cigarettes. So I just would really like for you to kind of take and think for yourselves, is the limiting of flavors actually going to affect children, or is it really going to affect the adults who have, by age progression alone, been allowed to purchase these things? Thank you.
Finished? Is there anyone else? All right. We're not going to close the public hearing. We're going to keep it open. But would the commissioners care to discuss anything right now?
Well, I'd say one thing. I appreciate all the testimony, and I appreciate County Health Department and what they've provided for us. I'm a parent, and so I'm concerned about my daughter and family getting access to tobacco products and to detrimental products, and this is a difficult decision. I am a little uncomfortable with the overarching into the flavors and banning flavors. I understand a lot of us are wanting to ban tobacco, period. But this was aimed at being about prevention for kids and kids getting access to that. And that's what I think it should be confined to, is as keeping kids away from the tobacco products and not trying to limit the ability to purchase certain types of products for adults. So I guess as the ordinance is crafted now, I'm not in support of it.
Commissioner Thompson.
I come from a long line of depressive self-medicators. The family motto was candy's dandy, but liquor's quicker, and there was usually a cigarette in somebody's hand. So I buried a lot of people I love from cancer. Having said that, that was their choice. And I'm with Commissioner Kouila on this one. I want to keep flavored things out of the hands of, please don't do that. I want to keep flavored things out of the hands of children. I want to respect the free choice of adults. I love the idea that our community, thank you so much for coming to talk to us. We really want to hear what you have to say, so thank you for doing that. Our health department cares so much about individual and community health. I am so grateful to you for the work that you do. I want to support your good work. I appreciate Stephen coming back and fighting the good fight some more, because addiction is a terrible problem. How do we as a community deal with our very human tendency to want to mitigate our pain? And I think community conversations are the way to do that. So when we talk about giving adults a free choice, I heard so much wisdom: educate, regulate, mitigate. And I think if we work together as a community, I appreciate you keeping the comment period open, because I think if we can work together and bring in concerned people, make absolutely respectful best use of our very professional and capable staff, I think we as a community can come together and be effective in dealing with these problems. Because prohibition doesn't work if there's this internet access, and it's hard to be able to, you can't regulate people's desires, but maybe you can educate, maybe we can love each other into wholeness with these community conversations. And so if we support the good in that, I think that's a better way to go, rather than to try and just, besides that, my auntie would haunt me if I tried to take away her cools, and I'm sure that those loggers are going to be real unhappy if they can't have, wintergreen snooze, is that it? I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that, but I do want to help people have healthy, happy, long lives. I don't want to bury any more people I love because they've succumbed to cancer related to tobacco use or other kinds of self-medication. So let's make each other better, happier, more whole, more healthy as a community by carrying on this conversation. I respect the science that our health department has brought us, and the health department community members, extended youth, those who work with youth. I'm sorry, I didn't say that quite right. And I respect the physician who spoke. And I agree that we have to do everything we can to prevent, and whatever that takes. I understand that there are people who have stakes in this, and I appreciate this, but our county does a lot to help youth with education, with community support, and this is another piece. So my concern is something that, with the language about that was added after, and I just want to make sure that the city councils are aware of this, and that they understand as well, and they're in agreement. Anybody else want to speak?
Go ahead first, yeah.
I'd like to clarify something. One one of our commenters tonight, actually two commenters, talked about the issue of enforcement and the fact that in recent years, the state level people who do inspections of retailers, there had only been one infraction. I think that's probably because there were very, very few inspections done. And one of the things that, could I ask Dr. McNichol to tell us, I think he has that inspection number, or somebody on his staff does. Do we know, Julia,
There were 12 stores in both 2018 and 2017 that were inspected, and it's with a partnership of the state and the federal from the Silar Amendment. And one store is sold, which is 12%, and one of the things this license will correct is every single store will be inspected every year and have a youth compliance check. So we'll get 100% of all the stores.
Yeah, so I think that's a very important point to make. There were very few citations because there were very few inspections. And someone made the statement that that there should be consequences like an MIP. Well, having raised two teenagers in Oregon, I can tell you that MIPs are pretty easy to figure out. I came back from a trip one time, and my son had received an MIP for having a party in my house. Well, you know, parties get loud, and the neighbors called the police. Vaping is a very different issue. And minors' access is very similar to alcohol. Yes, they do get it sometimes from their parents, but I think that the data shows that most of the time they get it from friends or they get it from illegal sales. And this is something that we feel as public health people that we need to do something about. Also, our public health department is in pretty constant contact with our schools. I think probably of all of our staff, they have the most constant contact with school districts. And the teachers and everybody in our school district has complained vehemently about vaping because it's so difficult. It's so difficult to police. It's so difficult even to figure out. And now there's the smokeless stuff too. So it's they feel that the word that they have used to us is, this is a crisis for us. Can you please help us? I also think that the research that was done by our staff over a period of more than a year has been very, very extensive, and this is viewed as some of the best practice legislation anywhere in the country. And so I'm actually very proud of this effort and having been a part of it. And I also attended several of the city council meetings. And first of all, I don't know who was talking about the city councils. Was it you, John? I'm sorry, you used the word agenda, and I don't think you meant that. I think you meant a proposed ordinance. I didn't hear, we heard no pushback from the cities. They were generally very, very in favor of it because they actually see this issue more intimately than sometimes we do in more rural areas. So I was recently at a meeting at the Oregon Association of Counties where a state representative from the Oregon Health Authority said that Clatsop County has one of the best public health departments in the state. And I stand by that.
We think we're the best, though.
I wanted to say that I really appreciate each and every one of you coming here today. I think it's really important. It lifts me up to see so many people engaging in this process. I think we desperately need this in this country on every level, on every issue. And so thank you for coming. I know that we can't all agree on what we're working with here. I think we can all agree that addiction is difficult. I have heard tobacco addiction is probably one of the worst than almost anything else. Having lost loved ones from smoking-related illnesses, I think probably, I bet everybody in this room has had somebody affected by smoking-related illnesses. It breaks my heart to see young people smoke, because I thought we'd be over it by now, but I think it's something that's going to be with us for a while longer. I'm also very proud of our public health department. I also believe that people have been working on this issue for a long, long time. I believe they've had enough time to do research, and I trust the research that we're been given and cited here. I also know that small businesses have a hard time making a go of it. I know small businesses built this country. I appreciate hearing from them that they're concerned about this and their bottom line. I also appreciate that adults have a right to make their own choices. So this is not an easy thing. It's not an easy thing. So if it was up to me, nobody in this room would be smoking one more second. I recently had somebody very dear to me, very young, pull out one of those things out of his pocket, and I was just devastated. And I got an argument from him. He's over 21, but still, it's like, please. So it's not an easy thing, but I was also lived in Minnesota when they won the tobacco lawsuit. And it was very proud for me to be living, I had nothing to do with it at all, except that I resided in Minnesota. And I do think that in any of these kind of policy issues, somebody has to lead the way. And I would certainly be very proud to have Clatsop County lead the way in this issue. Now, Chair, when you say you're leaving this open, can you talk a little bit more about that?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the issue of coordinating clearly and being open and transparent with the document as far as what the cities are on board with. And I think if that can be brought to a more clear understanding, that's my concern. That's my only concern.
So would that mean this is the official second reading, but if you were to leave it open, that means we are not voting on it this evening?
Correct.
Okay, is that the same as tabling it, or what does that mean? Is that a legal issue that we'd be holding that open?
I didn't think we would be conducting the second hearing.
Yeah, that's what we just did.
Well, I don't know, so I'm not clear on that. Second reading?
No, we're leaving it.
This is why we're going to list the county council.
Counselor?
One question will be if there are any changes. If there are any changes, it'll be back for another version, another reading. If you are simply going to pass it as is after this, then you would not make a decision tonight and would postpone. However, in that case, I think you're going to need a date certain to postpone to.
I'm sorry, I don't understand what you just said.
You're going to need a date. If you're not going to make any changes and do first and second reading again, you'll need to set a date certain to postpone to. So you'll need to say, this will be taken up again at our December 14th meeting or whatever, you're going to do. So you'll have to announce the date that it's being continued to.
Can I ask a question about that? It was my understanding that if we change an ordinance, that we have to go through a first reading again, don't we?
Normally, yes.
But I'm not suggesting that we change it. I'm suggesting that we have staff, if that's possible, talk to the cities about the changes that they may not have known about. And as far as the flavors. That,
We're going to have to postpone it significantly.
I understand.
I'm sorry,
I understand
Doctor.
It says difficult to get on their agendas, so.
I'm not sure that's going to be a problem anymore, Mike.
Well, anyway, we'll need some time because it's probably, we'll have to figure out how we're going to get on there.
So we don't know exactly how long. We have to set it, we have to state a firm date.
If you're postponing and planning on taking the exact same ordinance and continuing with it, yes. Because you're in the middle of your reading.
Is there any,
Yeah, I mean, you can set it to a date certain and then just announce at the date certain that you're postponing to another date certain.
all right? Is January, is that enough time? All right, so our first meeting in January? Oh, yes,
Someone needs to move to postpone to such and such a date.
thank you.
The first meeting in January would be the 8th.
Okay,
Madam Chair, I move that we postpone, what am I postponing, Council?
The second reading on ordinance 1903.
3? Postpone it or continue it? Do we postpone it or continue it? The hearing.
Continue would be the correct word.
Thank you. Madam Chair, I move that we continue the second reading of ordinance 2019-03 until January 8th, 2020.
Second.
okay. It has been moved and seconded that we continue the public hearing, the second reading, excuse me. What was the number?
2019-03.
That we continue the second reading, 2019-03, to January 8th, 2020. Is there any discussion about this? Oh, there was a second.
Oh, I'm
Yes.
sorry.
Is there any discussion about continuing the hearing? All right. The question is on the adoption of continuing the second reading, number 2019-03 to January 8th, 2020. Those in favor will say aye, those against, and we will have a, yes, the clerk will call the roll.
Commissioner Sullivan?
Yes.
Commissioner Webb?
Yes.
Commissioner Kula?
Aye.
Commissioner Thompson?
Aye.
Commissioner Milliker?
Aye. So the motion has passed with 5 ayes and no nays. Thank you. Yes. And now we will take a 5-minute break. Thank you for the reminder. Okay, next on our agenda is the holiday schedule for November and December meetings.
Yay. I'm going to go ahead and provide the staff report. And so, hi, Monica. Hi. So nice to see all of you from this angle. So every November and December, we look at revising the schedule in accordance with the holidays. And so this year, we are proposing to hold our November meeting on November 13th at 6 p.m. and our December meeting on December 11th at 6 p.m. And this will allow for staff to be able to know when to prepare their agenda items for these board meetings, as well as it gives you the ability to be able to make sure you're in attendance for the AOC conference, should you so choose, November 19th through 21st. So staff is proposing that the November 11th or November 13th and December 11th dates are for the remaining board meetings.
There's December 13th in there.
There was a revision provided, yes.
It's the wrong one. Okay.
Yes, we apologize for that, but yes, it is November 13th and December 11th.
I have a question, if I may. I was a little confused when I was reading it, and maybe I was just too tired, but it seems like in the past we've had one meeting November and one meeting December.
And that's what we're proposing. Yeah.
So the statements in there that we normally have two, we're just not going to have two.
So, yeah, so per the charter, it states that generally twice a month we meet.
Right.
And so for the months of November and December, the last several years, we have only had one meeting in each of those months, simply because it often falls when people are traveling for the holidays.
Madam Chair? Yes. I move that the board approve the meeting dates as suggested by staff. I second.
It has been moved and seconded that the board approve the meeting dates as suggested by staff. Is there any discussion?
Can you restate those dates?
November 13th and December 11th.
I already have them on my calendar. Okay. The question is on the adoption of the motion that the board approve the meeting dates as suggested by staff. Those in favor will say aye. Those opposed will say no. The clerk will call the roll.
Commissioner Sullivan? Aye. Commissioner Webb?
Aye.
Commissioner Kula?
Aye.
Commissioner Thompson?
Aye.
Commissioner Whitaker?
Aye. The motion is passed, 5 in favor, 0 against. Next, we have the proposed fee schedule adoption.
Thank you. So this is an opportunity for the board to allow for public comment pursuant to ORS 294.160, and this is in regards to the adoption of the proposed fee schedule. We come before you depending on how many changes there are throughout the year with some proposals. This time around, there have been some things that have come to our attention in regards to the fact that we haven't updated some of our fees that aren't regularly used, and so they no longer cover the staff time that it costs to have these services performed. And then also there's some new fees that we're proposing, as well as removing some fees that have kind of become obsolete given the technology that's now available. So there are proposed fees in changes in the assessment and tax department. One of those is for the addition of a delinquent tax report. There's proposals in the county clerk and elections to increase some fees, and then there's also just a slight cleanup in rounding issues in the building codes. And then there's also in the public health department the retail license fee that was proposed as well. So, yes.
If I may. Yes. We heard some comment from the audience tonight that suggested that that fee was not adequate for the things that they thought it was necessary for. I understand that the fee was designed to capture our actual staff costs, but if we as a county board of commissioners, as Dr. McNichol said, this is our ordinance. So if we decide that we want to put in a charge that would cover some education efforts or some other addition to that to make us the leading policymakers in the country, I wonder if we want to keep this,
if we want to delete that tobacco part from our discussion tonight, because I think we're not done with that one.
You can do that, and then you could follow the second option to consider, which is allow the opportunity for public comment, and then adopt the proposed fee schedule with board revisions.
The only one I would see that would apply to would be the tobacco one, so I don't know what the construction of the appropriate motion would be, but if, I have a question first, ma'am. No, I'm just looking for the language, but sure.
That's kind of what I'm doing.
Okay.
The public comment part, I'm confused about when that would happen.
Right now, you just tell me to get out of the chair.
Just sing it out.
All of those people would have the opportunity for public comment.
This is an unusual statute. It's in the budget section of the law. And it says, before a fee is adopted, the chair will call for public comment.
It's different than public hearing.
So we don't have to notice it, or?
No, we just have to have the chair call for public comment before you deliberate on the item.
Thank you.
Madam Chair?
Commissioner Sullivan.
So when the county looked at these increases, they were making estimates of what they think would cover their costs, correct?
So several years ago, we conducted a countywide fee study, and we have been evaluating some of those fees on a regular basis, but some of them get overlooked in regards to the staff time that it takes to cover that. Some of it might decrease, some of it might go away, and some of it will increase depending on some creation of technology makes it so you might be able to do it faster, so rather than charging an hourly rate, you just charge a single fee. And so we ask the departments to regularly review their fee schedules, so that way we can kind of try and keep on top of it, so we make sure that we are covering the actual cost for the work. It's not in government to be in the profit making business, and so we want to make sure that we're keeping these fees affordable, but yet still covering the cost to perform services that are individual to the person requesting them, not to the overall citizen tax base.
Okay, so if this were to pass tonight, would the fees go in effect when?
October 1st.
October 1st. So if we were to enact this and then decide, say in particular, the tobacco fee, want to increase that at a later time, what would the procedure of that be?
Staff would bring it before you again, call for public comment, and you would increase the fee.
Okay.
Would we have to remove that fee from this resolution?
No, I mean, you could essentially adopt the fee without something in place. It would be kind of confusing to some perhaps because you don't have an ordinance to go along with it, but it just wouldn't be something that would be getting charged. We can't charge for something that is not on the fee schedule, but we can have something on the fee schedule that isn't getting used, which is, some of these that we've cleaned up. Mm-hmm.
So would staff then remind us when we are looking at the meeting in January?
Well, staff would make the recommendation based on what Commissioner Thompson said, is at this time, since this topic is tabled, it would be easiest to just remove it.
I agree. Take it off right now.
I think so too.
We don't want to put the cart before the horse. Wait, so not have any?
I'm in regards to the proposed fee schedule before you, Commissioner Thompson had suggested removing that, the TRL fee from the fee schedule, since at this time, we aren't imposing the ordinance. And so staff would take your recommendation, which is adopt the proposed fee schedule with the revision of removing the tobacco retail license fee.
Yes.
Yes.
And then once the ordinance for a tobacco retail license is in place, at the same time that the ordinance would be coming before the board for adoption in whatever form it comes to you, we would at the same time be coming before you with a tobacco retail licensure fee that would, depending on what it is you're wanting to have the services performed that get paid for, we would then make the fee
accommodating that as well. That doesn't mean that we wouldn't collect fees between now and then. Well, we can't collect a fee because we don't have an ordinance in place.
And it's no fee. Yeah.
You chose tonight to postpone. That's right, okay, yes, I understand now.
It was a long meeting. Thank you for saying it so clear.
Yeah, that's right, thank you.
Okay.
All right.
So I will find that page.
So now you would just call for public comment.
Calls for public comment first,
Okay,
Kathleen.
so is there public comment regarding the fee schedule? Seeing none, we'll move.
I move. Oh, we're going to try this. Where's the one that we want to
Page
take out?
46.
Page 36. No, I'm on 46, but I have to specifically state.
It's on the back.
No, but we're taking something out.
Oh.
TRL.
Well, then,
It's just-
do we have to amend
it's
the
just-
motion?
No, because we haven't made the motion yet.
Made.
So if you make the motion correctly the first time, which is, how did you refer to that?
If you wait 1 second, I'll write it
Yeah.
up.
I can wait.
I'd like to have a copy of that, too.
Fee schedule, minus or not including,
She's going to write it out for me.
with the exception of,
TRL fee.
yeah, not, we can do this. Yeah, I'm
On the
gonna say,
fly.
who says a committee can't write a motion?
Page 63 is the fee.
Thank you. Thank you, Monica. Very good. Is everybody ready?
Would you speak it slowly so I can write it down?
I move that the board adopt the proposed fee schedule with the exception of the tobacco retail license fee to be implemented effective October 1st, 2019. Second. Oh.
Okay, so it's been moved and seconded that the board adopt the proposed fee schedule with the exception of the retail license fee effective October 1st, 2019 as presented. Is there any discussion? The question is on the adoption of the board adopt the proposed fee schedule with the exception of the retail license fee effective, to be implemented effective.
No, with the exception of.
I said with the exception of the retail license fee to be implemented effective October 1st, 2019, but I'm not sure I said to be implemented before.
Yes.
Did I? Yep. Okay, fine. Good. All right. The clerk will call the roll.
Commissioner Webb?
Aye.
Commissioner Kula?
Aye.
Commissioner Thompson? Aye. Commissioner Sullivan? Aye. Commissioner Nebeker?
Aye. The motion is passed, 5 in favor, 0 against. Okay. Now we move on to
Urban
the
renewal.
Warrenton Urban Renewal Plan concurrence.
I know who wants to do that motion.
I'm sure.
Good evening, board.
Good evening.
So you will remember that on August 28th of this year, the City of Warrenton staff came and made a presentation on their urban renewal district, and along with their consultant, Elaine Howard. And at that time, they explained to you that they had some new projects that they would like to work on. And since they've already reached their maximum indebtedness that was declared when they started their district in 2007, they would like to increase this by $4 million to $11.9 million to finish these projects. In order to do this, under the law, they have to have concurrence from 75% of the taxing districts within that boundary.
and we are one of those districts. So this is a formality. Two things that I would like you to know. One, to explain urban renewal, it is only on the county and other taxing districts will only forego the equivalent of growth in that area. It's not the entire boundary, if that's what was in your mind. And because they're so close to triggers in the rules for urban renewal, revenue sharing will be triggered this next year because they have been very successful in their district. I don't want to get it too complicated for you because it is very complicated. I will tell you that April Clark from the City of Warrenton is in the audience, so if you have any specific questions about their projects or the district itself, she's prepared.
I have a question, and I had some too. I think I read in the newspaper that the urban renewal district has been, or that their present plan has been scaled back. And what we are presented, adopted by the City of Warrenton October 8th, 2019. That date hasn't happened yet.
They have to have concurrence before they adopt. And that's what we're doing here tonight.
So this is the most current, what we have in front of us is the most current that includes that scale. Okay, that's all. I just wanted to mention that the newspaper had talked about this. Nicole?
It's late, I know, but I was gone in August, so I didn't have a chance to ask questions, and I just did have a couple, if I could ask them. On page 16 of the attachment, which is, I don't know what page it is, it talks about prior indebtedness, and I wondered if there were any prior indebtedness involved, or if that's just kind of a boilerplate thing that was inserted into it. Any indebtedness permitted by law and incurred by the or the city in connection with the preparation of may be repaid from tax increment revenues. So is there any prior indebtedness? Are you carrying debt forward into this plan?
Yeah.
Yes.
It's complicated because you
I
have
know,
to go
it's-
into.
That's pretty much boilerplate.
Yeah, but I just wanted to hear a little assurance, because when and the reason I'm being careful about it is because I know that I have some people who make sure that I hear from them on a regular basis who are concerned with the appropriate use of tax dollars. And I did have the honor of serving with Oliver Norval on the Multnomah County Tax Soup, and he wrote that, he conceived it, and he wrote the legislation. So I think it's designed to be trustworthy and a wonderful leverage tool to improve everything about the quality of life in a particular area. So I think it's being used appropriately. I'm just looking for a little public assurance and shining a little light on some arcane corners, just briefly.
I believe that this section that's talking about prior indebtedness, this comes from when the original plan was put into place. And so this is addressing any indebtedness that was incurred in order to put the plan into place back in 2007, that we would have been able to repay that with tax increment revenues. And I was not the finance director at that time, but I believe the only indebtedness that we had that was related to costs before were interfund loans that we got, from the general fund or from the water fund, and those were paid back.
Okay, done deal.
That's what that is referring to.
Taken care of, no longer a concern.
Right.
Thank you. Congratulations on a really lovely plan, and every best wish for your success with it. Continued success.
Thank you.
Any further questions?
No, everybody knows where I stand on this.
Go ahead.
What say you, Commissioner?
Go ahead for it.
No, like I said last time we discussed this, Warrenton's a victim of its own success because they've done so well with the first phase of urban renewal, and this is an opportunity to actually put some some more projects in motion, one of the ones being the downtown underground of utilities. That was something that we looked at 10 years ago, and so it's nice to see that that's one of these plans or one of these projects is going to be included in this. And they did scale back a lot of the wish list of items to try to make it more realistic and attainable, and that's what this reflects in here. And so this, we're talking $4 million. It's not going to be a huge amount, but it certainly is going to help to make the downtown and marina more attractive.
One thing I wanted to address, her question about scaling back. I believe what you saw in the paper was talking about one particular urban renewal project, which was the landscaping project.
Right.
Because it came in at twice what we had thought that it would, so they scaled that plan back to be within budget. So I believe that's probably.
Right, no, I just wanted to make sure that that's what we were talking about.
And I think they're started on it already, because they were working on it today.
They have started, yes.
Yep.
One thing to keep in mind too, the projected termination or expiration of the plan is the same date, and it will be in the year 2028.
28?
28.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Can I just make a comment about this? I know it's late, but this is one of the most creative uses I've seen of I've done a lot of urban renewal in Oregon. And the idea of linking the marina with, it is very exciting. And there was a time that pursuant to federal statute, you couldn't do that. They had to be contiguous. And so I think what's going to come out of this is that Warrenton's going to have a real honest-to-goodness downtown that oozes to the marina. It's cool.
Certainly
it's
the
very
goal.
cool.
Absolutely.
It's a planner's dream.
It's a good goal, good planning.
Well, I want to make this motion if I can.
I bet you do.
I move to approve the resolution in order to concur with the Warrenton Urban Renewal Plan amendment and authorize the chair to sign.
Second.
Oh, sorry, go ahead. No, I'm sorry. Don't let me step on Commissioner Webb's toes. Commissioner Webb seconded that, not me. Really?
Sure. I second that motion.
Okay. It is moved.
Isn't that a song?
A song? It's the happy dance.
Second.
It is moved and seconded that the board approve the resolution in order to concur with the Warrenton Urban Renewal Plan amendment and authorize the chair to sign. Is there any discussion? Seeing none. The question is on the adoption to approve the resolution in order, that the board approves the resolution in order to concur with the Warrenton Urban Renewal Plan amendment and authorize the chair to sign. The clerk will call the roll, and the clerk will call the roll.
Commissioner Cooler?
Aye.
Commissioner Thompson? Aye. Commissioner Sullivan?
Aye.
Commissioner Webb?
Hallelujah.
Better say aye.
Aye.
Yes, I'm sorry.
Commissioner Whitaker?
Aye. The ayes have it. 5 in favor, 0 against. The motion is adopted. Now we come to the Southeast Bugle Road contract with Big River Construction. Look, we lived long enough to see it. Yeah.
Hello, Commissioners.
Hello.
So we're asking today for the approval to construct Bugle Lane. And we did a competitive bidding process, and as you can see in your handout there, that the Big River Construction was the low bidder, a local contractor. And they fell right into our engineer's estimates, which was good. And so this is the road that connects 19th with Ensign Lane.
Any questions?
Yeah. What is the cost per mile for this road?
Per mile, did you say? Well, it's only 650 feet long.
I know.
So it's very expensive.
So do the math.
In this particular aspect, there's a lot of utilities involved in this road, so it's not just building a road, it's underground utilities, water mains, and sidewalks, drainage.
So it's including the sidewalks and the curb cuts?
Yeah.
Both of the curb cuts too? even though we don't really have development plans for those
The city of
parcels?
Warrenton has those requirements for their sidewalks, utilities.
And the curb cuts?
You mean the access points?
Yeah.
Yes,
Even without a site plan for the two parcels?
that's the way it was designed,
Oh, years ago.
approved by the city of Warrenton.
Okay, we'll blame Warrenton for that then.
So, Madam Chair, I move for the board to approve the contract with Big River Construction, Inc. in the amount of $798,000. We are not giving them that other one. I misread a period for a comma. Okay, it's that wrinkle in the retina. Okay, all right. Commissioner Thompson, please. Let's start all over. Okay, I move for the board to approve the contract. It was really expensive with the Big River Construction, Inc. in the amount of $798,428.00 for the Southeast Bugle Road construction, and authorize the county manager to sign the contract and any amendments.
Second.
It is moved and seconded that the board approve the contract with Big River Construction, Inc. in the amount of $798,428 for Southeast Bugle Road construction, and authorize the county manager to sign the contract and any amendments. Is there any discussion? The question is on the adoption of the board to approve the contract with Big River Construction, Inc. in the amount of $798,428 for Southeast Bugle Road construction, and authorize the county manager to sign the contract and any amendments. The clerk will call the roll. Commissioner Thompson? Aye. Commissioner Sullivan? Aye. Commissioner Webb?
Aye.
Commissioner Kula?
Aye.
Commissioner Nutker? Aye. Motion carries. Is passed. 5 in favor, 0 against.
Madam Chair,
Commissioner Sullivan?
thank you, Ted. I just have a question about the young person who's been sitting so patiently in the audience. Is this person going to be next on the agenda, or does he need to come and speak under the good of the order?
Does he want to speak?
No, I think he's...
He's attending the meeting, so then he can get a badge. Is that how that works?
Yes.
He's going to have an interview with a very important county commissioner after this.
Okay, next on our agenda is good of the order, and I'm going to ask the parliamentarian to give us some guidance again about what we do during good of the order.
So the chair asked me to read a section of Robert's Rules on good of the order. So this heading, included in some types of organizations in their order of business, refers to the general welfare of the organization and may vary in character. Under this heading, members who obtain the floor commonly are permitted to offer informal observations regarding the work of the organization, the public reputation of the board or its membership, or the like. Certain types of announcements may tend to fall here. That's what good of the order is.
Is that
Yes.
clear? Clear. Okay.
I have a question for the good of the order.
Okay. Commissioner Sullivan?
I just want to check the temperature of the other commissioners on what we had brought up before about the letter of support for the North Coast Land Conservancy project that you folks are, I think some of you are going to take a tour of in October, because I think the grant is coming up before the tour. So it's not as far as I know, is no fiscal cost to the county. It's mostly just thank you for this good work, and we would support you on that. So I just wondered how you all feel, if that's something that we could go forward with, or if, if not, I'm comfortable with sending an individual letter myself, but.
I'd be comfortable supporting that project. I know that sometimes a letter, I've seen that we had a letter sent back to us that was offered for our signature, and somehow it appeared on Facebook and came back to us with an obscene comment.
Right.
So I request that our county manager work with us to get a process for handling issues like this, perhaps in a work session. In the meantime,
Absolutely.
I am comfortable supporting this, and if you write a letter, I'm happy to add my signature to your letter. If the clerk of the board could prepare that, if no others want to, that's fine. If everybody else wants to, I think it's better, but individual choice for the commissioners.
I would think that the clerk would do it if all of the commissioners were on board. Isn't that the way it would work?
No, the clerk
Not
can
just-
do letters for individuals. We're county commissioners. We get to have our support go on letterhead.
Yeah, my only thought was I wanted to see it first. That was.
And I understand that, and I think it's the timeliness of it all, so.
Yeah,
are
I
you-
understand, I'd like to see it first. That was-
So you would rather, for yourself, you'd rather wait to see the product, okay? And how do you feel, Commissioner Webb?
I second everything that my fellow commissioners have said.
Which ones?
You're supporting? Very much in support of it. I think it needs to happen quickly, the way I understand their timeline. But I would always like to see a copy of anything that my name goes on ahead of time.
Well,
But I promise a very quick turnaround,
How can we sign it if we don't see it? How are we going to see it? How is that going?
Only the commissioners who are comfortable signing would see it, but it goes on letterhead because we're commissioners and entitled to that privilege. I would actually, this raises up.
County Manager Boone, could you offer any assistance or insights on this?
Well, I think that certainly at the end of the day, it's the board's choice on the process, but I think this does show that having a process would be instructive for everybody's benefit, and we will work with your board to document that process. What I have tended to see is that if there are board members who want to support any kind of an initiative, that they can certainly write individual letters and on individual county letterhead. If there is an agreement on it, then there can be a letter drafted for all the board members' signature, and it would be common to have everybody look at it first and read it just to confirm consistency. So in this case, if there is a general desire for county staff to draft a letter on behalf of the board, assuming that there's general consensus that that is a letter that would like to be sent, we can draft something, share it with your board, take your comments, and then have it signed, if that is what your drivers are.
That's fine with me. I currently am in a situation where I don't, that would be preferable to me.
But
So-
the timing, how do we read it to sign it in time?
They just send it,
Well, also, I think in other times, we've had a board that, we've had a letter from the board that wasn't a unanimous, but it was a majority of the board. And so either the chairperson or the vice chair would sign that. So I don't know.
I understand, but if it requires our signatures, how is that going to happen?
Oh, that's easy.
Yeah,
the clerk of the board
Write it,
can
you mail
handle
it
that.
out,
and, or you email it, and
everybody can send.
Everybody reads it within 6.
Everybody agrees. So our signatures don't need to be on it?
Well, the way my experience that that's often handled is that if it really is coming from the entire board, then the chair can sign it on and make it clear in the letter that it's on behalf of the Board of County Commissioners of Clatsop County.
Right, but this has to be sent when?
I believe it's early in October, so it doesn't have to be done tomorrow, but it's.
Okay, so it does require a signature.
Oh, sure.
Wasn't that the objection with that one that was on Facebook with it looked like somebody's lipstick was writing?
I think there are a lot of things going on with this particular issue. All I was hoping for this evening, and I agree with County Manager Boone and Commissioner Thompson, and I'm sure all of us, because I think we've all had similar conversations like this, we would like to have more clarification on the process, and I think that we can do that in the future.
Yes.
What I would like to do is to have a letter of support for this particular project in a timely manner. And I fully support Commissioner Aquila wanting to tour, and he's got a tour set up, but it just doesn't mesh because of the schedule. So do I need to make a motion? How can I move this along?
I personally am comfortable with the board's consensus about how you'd like to move forward, and if the consensus is that you'd like to have staff draft a letter to share, I'm very comfortable with that. So,
are you comfortable with that, Chair Nebeker?
Yeah, and my concern is just getting it signed. That's my concern, is if it has to be signed before it goes, when does that happen?
When are you available to sign
Yeah,
it?
right, that's the problem. Well,
It doesn't have to, right?
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be at the meeting, yeah.
The clerk of the board will make sure that the appropriate signature is on. I trust the clerk of the board.
If we have consensus that we want to send this letter, and we have consensus that we're comfortable with the board writing the letter, and then the board would, I understand the county manager would send it out to us to read it, and I guess we would respond to you directly rather than to each other. And then if it's within the next 2 weeks, before the next meeting, if you're in town.
So there's 2 weeks in between now.
I'm not exactly sure what the drop dead date is, but I know it's before.
October 11th, if I recall.
Oh, okay, I thought it was sooner. I'm sorry.
No,
so
it's,
we will verify the date too, and then we will communicate to everybody, and we'll draft it up, and then we will work through the signature process. If it is on the 11th, then we have another board meeting, so.
but their tour is not until after the 11th.
So we'll see. So I trust you.
We will draft it up, and we will go through all of the motions to satisfy the request, so.
Thank you.
And you can do what you want to do. Madam Chair, I have one issue for the good of the order. I got a call from David Yamamoto, Tillamook County Commissioner, yesterday, who said the governor is having a 100-year watershed plan. She's looking at water for the next 100 years in Oregon. There's going to be one meeting on the coast. It's going to be in Tillamook County on Wednesday, the 23rd of October. Well, guess what? The Clatsop County Board of Commissioners meets that day. Guess what? So does the Columbia County Board of Commissioners. And guess what? So does the Tillamook County Board of Commissioners. But this was set up by the state people. My concern is that Susan Morgan, who's been the natural resources staffer, says Clatsop County needs to be at this meeting because what we're talking about is personal water use and commercial water use for the next 100 years. So all the industries that are using more water, tourists are using more water. I've got a constituent saying that 80% of the people who are overusing water in Cove Beach are transient occupancy facilities. We've got brewing, which uses a lot of water. We have cannabis growing, which takes a lot of water. We have people concerned about the impact of forestry practices on water. So we've got a whole lot of issues that are vitally important to the health and well-being and economic security of us here in our 100 years. We're not going to be here. The folks who come after us. So that's on the 23rd of October. I don't know if it's possible and this is for all of us to consider so we can talk to staff about it,
but I'd like us to consider trooping down to Tillamook County so we can meet 12 to 5 in Tillamook County, because it's at the new OSU Extension Office at 4506 3rd Street in Tillamook. I don't have the written stuff from David, but he just called me to tell me this. This is vitally important for our future, for our people, for our economy. So how do we adjust what we need to do in order to work with what the state has decided is going to happen?
I'm super supportive of that. Who is it on our staff who is the water rights person? Do we have one?
No, that's a state.
It's my understanding that the governor's initiative in this area is actually looking at the water rights issue, as we all know, is it's been going on in Oregon since the first white person probably showed up. And a look at this is a huge effort, and one meeting on the coast, excuse me, that's wacko. But, so we've got to be there. We have got to be on the table. I almost wish we had a natural resources staff that could help us with stuff like this.
Our natural resources staff manager is Steve Meschke, but he doesn't deal with the water rights. He deals with the fisheries.
Right.
He's a fish guy. That's partly water, but.
Commissioner Thompson, do you know how it came to be that 3 counties are not informed of this meeting that was taking place on the?
David said he would send me all I know is I got a friend calling me on the phone saying, hey, heads up, here's something really important coming your way. I told you as soon as.
What's the time on that? 1 to 5, you said?
12 to 5.
12 to 5, and we have a presentation at 5, and it's about an hour away.
I know. Well, no, Tillamook.
Hour and a half.
Tillamook is an hour, no, 2 hours. 2 hours, because you know what? Unless the tourists all go away, I promise you, it's 2 hours. So it makes, we don't control, we are agents of the state. We do not control what the state does, but this is such a significant issue. I would
like to attend that meeting.
Yeah.
And so that means a quorum of commissioners will be down there, not here. So I don't know what we do. This has never come up before. This is unknown territory. I don't know if we can have one meeting in October and get everything in it. I don't know if we can adjust our meeting date somehow.
And I say I would like to attend, but things are shifting in my full-time job, and I'm still uncertain about what line it has.
Yeah, I understand that. All I'm saying is we may lack a quorum to do business here anyway because it's such a significant issue. And the more of us that are there, the better it is, because I guarantee those other county commissioners are going to be at that table.
It's also, I suppose we could talk to staff or think about it some more, but like if we were to have our meeting at 7 and rearrange the Dark Skies work session.
Oh, Kathleen, please, do not make me drive home.
I think we need to have, I don't know that we can make this decision right now, and I understand
I
that
just
this
wanted to
is.
do a heads up as soon as I just found out about it yesterday.
Suggestions.
Yeah.
Let's think about
Let's
it.
ask
It looks like
staff to help us
more might have.
figure this out.
Yeah, what I would suggest is at our next work session, let's talk about that and talk about what the path forward is. And we may even be able to reach out and just communicate what the concerns are to the state, because it sounds like we aren't the only ones. And I'm not saying that will have any impact, but just sharing that the date may not be the best.
Yeah.
And so, just to be transparent with them. But then we can talk about it at the next work session.
Yeah, let's do that. Thank you. Thank you for your indulgence. I just thought it was such a significant issue. I needed to tell you as soon as I could. Phew. So,
Thank you for letting us know. Appreciate
are
it.
we done?
Yes. Meeting's adjourned.
Thank you, Chair.
Good job, sir.
I'm ready for my interview, young man.